Hey guys, what's going on? It's Jimmy here, and I'm here to ask the question, is Evolve dead? Now, if you look at Steam and the concurrent player base and the numbers that are involved in that, it'll tell you that last week Evolve had an all-time low of 600 players online at one time. Now this is a stark difference from, let's say, when it first came out in the first few weeks or months. It was up on maybe 20 something K. Now Evolve is on a slippery slope and it's already lost a large chunk of its player base. Now, if we were to talk personally, I love the game and I've sunk enough time in it to satisfy my purchase. And I've released over 30 videos of myself playing Evolve on my channel. I think it's a absolutely unique and intense multiplayer experience. I think it's a fantastic game. I think it's something that a lot of other studios are kind of hesitant to release as a single multiplayer experience based on one concept. And I think they executed it semi-well, but it's really sad to see the game stumble down the slippery slope like this. Now, there are many ways that 2K and Turtle Rock Studios went wrong. It even started pre-release with DLC issues and players condemning their pricing policy. But I'm not going to talk about the DLC and prices. Yes, the DLC is vastly overpriced. I mean, paying half the price of the full retail game for an expansion pack and a monster is a little bit ridiculous. And this is, in my opinion, not the reason why Evolve is dead. And for some though, this is enough to avoid Evolve in the first place, to avoid it altogether. And a free-to-play model with a $60 price tag seemed too much for some. Now, what you should see on the right side or whatever side of the screen is the total players playing online at one single time, and you'll see Evolve isn't even on this list. Now, there's games like, we can have a look there and see, like Servarium. I've never even heard of that game. There's games like, Pro Evolution Soccer on there, Star Trek Online. Oh, that's pretty decent actually. There's games that have been around, like APB Reloaded. Holy shit, that game's been around for fucking years, and it's got more players than Evolve. And I'm gonna go through all the reasons why I think it's dead, and all the reasons why, all the ways I think they could fix the game and make it even better than it already. Now, the first thing that I think killed Evolve is its balance issues upon release, and the long-awaited patches to fix it. Now, the Wraith, we all know, was spat on by every hunter that played the game. I myself found myself groaning every time I faced it. And now I've said this before and I stick by it, the Wraith was never overpowered. It was just a boring monster to play, and its abilities like Decoy and Supernova were broken so that it made it almost impossible to catch or trap. It took them almost a month or more to release a patch fix. The one that was made for the Wraith actually made it really easy to fight now. And the release of new hunters saw, hunters like Sunny stand out as really OP characters. Now all this kind of makes it just a frustrating game to play when you know that the game is so reliant on it being balanced that if one hunter or one ability is overpowered, it's going to break the entire game. And I think we saw that with the Wraith, and a lot of players stopped playing the game because they thought that people were abusing it. And yeah, overall the balance issues really weren't dealt with quick enough for that, and I really saw a quick kind of breakdown in player base. Now the next thing that I think killed it is the matchmaking. Now the matchmaking is simply broken from the start and is doomed to never work, dropping players in randomly into ongoing games. Yes, to solve leaving issues, but that's not the solution to leaving issues. A competitive or ranked play mode should have been put in from the start. Leave penalties should have been implemented to prevent players from leaving in the middle of games or in lobbies. You could look at games like CSGO and their competitive mode. They give cooldowns of up to 30 minutes for leaving a game. And if you leave a game, you have a certain amount of time given for you to join back. So if you get a disconnect, you can always join back into the game. Now the leaderboard is broken because the monster would leave before getting killed to avoid getting a loss. Now players leaving lobbies because they didn't get characters, blah blah blah. Now, if you thought the matchmaking was bad when it first came out, now with an all-time low number of players, good luck on getting into a full lobby or getting your choice of characters now. and the very fact that you can't be a monster if you're playing in a party is utterly absurd to me. Now all these things are very technical things, but I think the overall lack of competitiveness about the game, apart from competitive tournaments of course, Evolve has nothing in that kind of sense of competitive play. The leaderboard is a joke, it's broken and doesn't work, and really provides no incentive for you to care about it because it's full of hackers or exploiters. The leveling system is a non-entity for me, people level up by farming achievements in single player, therefore matchmaking you, with unskilled players at higher levels. What's the point in having a level system if you're not to differentiate the player levels by skill? Now other than that, the entire fact that elite buffs are taken out in competitive tournaments kind of leads me to question why they're in the game in the first place. It seems to make little sense to exclude it from competitive play, but to just put it in a normal game and kind of changes the entire game altogether. So another point I would say is probably the predictable gameplay. This is a pretty, tough point to argue, but playing a monster, the game seems to rinse and repeat itself. Competitive players have routes to eat the best food, and they know what routes to go on, and competitive hunters learn these routes and hightail it to where the monster should be by the time they get there. All this takes practice and timing, etc. And yeah, that's on the competitive level, but other than that, class perks are pretty standard for whichever class you pick, and there really isn't any reason to pick something different the second time you play the same hunter. Speaking of predictable gameplay, it leads into the next point, which is for the casual player. Now, if you're not into the competitive aspect of the game and you're a casual player that just wants to jump in for 10 minutes, have a fun experience, then Evolve really sometimes can frustrate you with that. A lot of people find themselves chasing a ghost around a map for 10 minutes and then dying quickly when the monster is stage 3. Now for an inexperienced player, the hunt is boring, I personally find it fun, trying to locate and hunt the monster. It's part of the game and I enjoy it. A casual player, however, will find this boring, and many people dubbed it the chasing simulator or walking simulator or something like that. And a lot of reviewers have said this. So why not implement a casual mode, like an arena mode, so there can be instant action and monsters can train their skills in a already put down dome, and players can train their skills in that dome as well. Removing the entire hunt aspect out of the game might be a bit too much, but this is a kind of a different mode maybe, just to satisfy the casual player a bit more. And finally, the bugs, the glitches and the bugs and the glitches. If you were to go onto the Evolve subreddit on a daily basis, there's people posting GIFs or GIFs, whatever, of bugs of, monsters flying through the air, climbing up domes, people not jumping out of the airship, people falling through the world. People falling through the world! Fix that please, holy shit. Now, the game, you can say is unpolished, from people having expectations of how a AAA game should be. And at $60, I consider this a AAA game. It's pretty unacceptable to have all these bugs in it upon release. Now, the devs themselves are great. They're really active on their forums, and they're trying their best to save their game. I think with the release of GTA and The Witcher in these months, the game is simply done for. The release of free skins and community goals, it almost seems like a desperate attempt to maintain any type of player base. However, they are putting a lot of work into their patches, a lot more than any other dev team would do in a post-release game. But the game is inherent to imbalances, and so it's hard to get it right. And in that way, I kind of respect the devs for putting in the effort to try and keep the game alive, but it's already on a slope that's already it's already falling down, I think what we have here in the case of Evolve is a case of unfulfilled potential. The potential to capture the attention of a player base that would have enjoyed the game if they stuck with it, or even bought it in the first place. They shot themselves in the foot in that regard, and too much was lost early on. Not enough was done quick enough to save the decrease in players post-launch in the first few weeks even. And for me, the game is great, and one of the best multiplayer experiences I've had in video games. But that being said, I'm sick to death with its problems and the obvious solutions that can be implemented to save and change this game. Now, I'd love to hear your opinion on this. I know I've rambled on for far too long now, but I think I came up with some good points. Now, what do you guys think? How do you guys think Evolve can save itself, or the player base can save itself? Because I, for one, think that maybe going to a free-to-play model, even though I paid 60 bucks for it, going to a free-to-play model might save this game and have players buy characters on a hunter-by-hunter basis maybe, or even in packs. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments below. Be nice to hear from you guys. Leave a like, or if you want to watch some more Evolve videos, go check out my channel. I've got a lot of Evolve videos on there for you to watch. And thanks for watching this and listening to me go on and on about this. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for listening. Take care and peace out.